You ever wonder what happens when the people who raised you suddenly turn against you for no reason? I mean, really turn on you, like you are not even their child anymore? I used to think families fought, sure, but they always came back together, until that one text changed everything. It was the night before Thanksgiving. I was sitting in my apartment, finishing up a work report when my phone buzzed. I saw her name, Mom, and smiled. We had not spoken much that week, but I figured she was just reminding me about what to bring to dinner. When I opened the message, my whole body went cold. It said, "You are banned from Thanksgiving, idiot." That was it. No context. No follow-up, just that. At first I thought it was a joke. Maybe she meant to text my brother and accidentally sent it to me. So I called her. Straight to voicemail. I texted back, "Mom, what do you mean?" No response. I called again. Still nothing. For the next few hours, I just sat there staring at the screen. I could not wrap my head around it. The last time we spoke, everything was fine. We laughed about how my aunt always burned the pie and how my dad would fall asleep during football. So what the hell happened in a week? The next morning, I woke up to 12 missed calls from my younger brother, Josh. When I finally picked up, he sounded annoyed, not concerned. "Why are you blowing up Mom's phone?" He snapped. "I am trying to figure out why she banned me from Thanksgiving," I said. He laughed, a dry, mean laugh I had not heard from him before. "Maybe because you finally showed your true colors," he said. "What does that even mean?" I asked, but he hung up. That was when I realized something deeper was going on. I drove to my parents' house that afternoon. It was about an hour away, a small suburban place I grew up in. When I got there, I noticed something odd. My mom's car was in the driveway, but the blinds were drawn. I rang the bell once. No answer. Again, nothing. Then I heard movement inside. I could hear my mom's voice through the door, whispering, "Just don't open it." "Mom, it's me!" I shouted. There was silence. Then her voice again, sharper this time. "Go home, Claire. You are not welcome here." I froze. My own mother's voice sounded like a stranger's. "Can you at least tell me what I did?" I asked, my voice cracking. She just said, "You know what you did," and walked away. I stood there on the porch for what felt like forever, until the neighbor's dog started barking and I realized I looked pathetic, begging for answers from a door that was never going to open again. I drove back home in silence, trying to think of what I could have possibly done. I replayed every phone call, every visit, every tiny argument over the years. Nothing made sense. Then, that night, my cousin Lisa called. She was always the only one who seemed to understand me. She said quietly, "Claire, I need to tell you something, but you didn't hear it from me. Your mom found out something about the money." "What money?" I asked. Lisa hesitated. "Apparently she thinks you took money from Grandma's account before she died." I almost laughed. It was so ridiculous. My grandmother had passed away 2 months ago, and she had left a small inheritance. But everything had gone through the lawyer. I never touched anything except the check she gave me in her will. "I didn't take anything," I said, my chest tightening. Lisa whispered, "I know. But your mom thinks you forged her signature. Your brother showed her something, bank statements, transfers. It looks bad." For a moment I could not breathe. My own brother had set me up. The next morning I went straight to the lawyer's office. He showed me the supposed evidence that my mother had brought in copies of wire transfers with my name on them. But the signatures were wrong. The email address was close to mine, but not the same. It was a fake. Someone had created an entire digital trail to make it look like I stole from my dying grandmother. I drove straight to Josh's apartment. When he opened the door, he acted casual, like nothing was wrong. "Wow," he said, smirking. "Did Mom finally forgive you yet?" "Cut the crap," I said. "Why did you do it?" He frowned. "Do what?" "You forged the documents. You made it look like I stole from Grandma." He laughed, leaning against the doorframe. "You have no proof." "That is where you are wrong," I said, and I pulled out the USB drive the lawyer had given me. "You used your own IP address, idiot." His face went pale. He stammered something about how Mom had always loved me more. How I was the golden child. He said, "You got everything. College, the car, her attention. You think that was fair?" I could not believe what I was hearing. All that hatred had been festering for years, and I never saw it. "I was supposed to inherit the house," he said through gritted teeth. "You took that from me." "I didn't take anything," I said quietly. Grandma gave me that because I took care of her when you couldn't even visit. He clenched his jaw. You always think you're better than us. I just shook my head. No, Josh, I just thought you were family. I left before I said something I would regret. For 2 weeks, no one called me, not even Lisa. Then one evening, my phone buzzed again. Mom. I stared at it for a long time before answering. Her voice was shaking. Claire, what did you do? I frowned. What are you talking about? Your brother's car was repossessed. His accounts were frozen. He said you did it. I took a deep breath. No, Mom, the court did it. He committed fraud, and he used your name to help him. There was a long silence. Then she whispered, That is not true. I wish it wasn't, I said. But you will see the documents soon enough. I heard her start to cry, but I could not feel sorry anymore. For years I had let her guilt trips and manipulation control me. But not this time. That night I made a decision. I logged into every joint account I had ever helped my parents set up. The utilities. The mortgage assistance plan I paid into when Dad lost his job. Every single one was under my name. And slowly, one by one, I cut off every automatic payment. Water, gas, electricity, cable, all of it. I watched the notifications roll in. Unpaid, unpaid, unpaid. Then the calls started. At first, it was just 1 or 2, then dozens. Within a week, I had 87 missed calls. Mom, Dad, Josh, over and over. I did not answer a single one. Because for once, I wanted them to feel what I felt. The shock. The confusion, the cold silence. They thought money was the only thing that mattered. Maybe now they would understand. What happens when the person who kept everything running decides to stop? But deep down, I knew it was not about revenge anymore. It was about finally letting them see me. For years, I had been the one fixing everything behind the scenes. Paying their bills when Dad was too proud to admit he was broke. Helping Josh get out of debt when he gambled away his paycheck. Covering Mom's credit card so she could save face. And in return, they called me a thief. I used to think family was unconditional. That no matter how bad things got, blood meant something. But when your own mother texts you that you are banned from Thanksgiving, you realize blood does not mean loyalty. That was the day I stopped being their daughter, and the day they realized what it cost to lose me. I will never forget that final voicemail from my mom. Her voice was trembling, desperate. She said, Claire, please, we need you. The house, the lights. Everything's falling apart. Please just call us. I listened to it once, then I deleted it. Because the truth is, I had already spent years calling them. They just never picked up. 3 months passed before I heard from any of them again. By then, winter had come and gone, and I had learned to live in silence. No more calls. No more guilt. No more pretending that we were a family. Then one morning, while I was making coffee, there was a knock at the door. I froze. Hardly anyone came to visit me unannounced. When I looked through the peephole, I almost dropped the mug in my hand. It was my father. He looked older, tired, thinner, with deep lines across his face. I opened the door just enough to speak. What do you want? I asked. He sighed, his breath visible in the cold air. Can I come in? I shook my head. Say what you need to say. He hesitated before answering. We lost the house. I stayed quiet. They took everything, he continued, voice cracking. Your brother disappeared. Your mother's not well. I looked at him, waiting for the part where he would say he was sorry. But he never did. Finally, I said, You came here to ask for help, didn't you? He looked away. We just need a place to stay for a while, until things get better. I laughed softly. You really think that after everything you did, you can just come here and start over? He clenched his jaw. You are still our daughter. Not anymore, I said quietly. You made that clear when you chose lies over me. For a second, I thought I saw guilt in his eyes, but then it was gone. He just said, You are being cruel. I stepped closer, my voice low but steady. No, Dad. I am being exactly what you taught me to be, cold when it matters. He looked like he wanted to argue, but instead, he just nodded slowly and walked away. I watched him get into a rusted car and drive off. That night I could not sleep. For the first time since everything happened, I felt something I could not name. It was not guilt exactly, but more like the echo of it. I remembered being a kid, sitting at the dinner table while Mom yelled at Dad about bills. I remembered Josh hiding under the table, pretending it was all a game. And I remembered being the one who cleaned up afterward, both literally and emotionally. That was always my role, the fixer, the peacekeeper. And now I had burned the bridge so completely there was nothing left to fix. The next morning I got another message. This time, from an unknown number. It said, "You went too far. You will regret this." No name, no clue who sent it. At first I ignored it, thinking maybe Josh had found a new number. But then, that night, I got another one. Family isn't something you erase. It comes back for you. That one made my skin crawl. I checked my locks twice, then again before bed. I even called Lisa, but she said she had not spoken to anyone in weeks. The following day, I noticed something strange. Someone had been in my apartment, building's parking lot. There were muddy footprints leading up to my door, stopping right outside. My stomach twisted. I went to the security office downstairs and asked to see the footage. The guard frowned, saying, "That's weird. The cameras on your floor went out last night." I left with my heart pounding. Maybe it was paranoia. Maybe it was them. 3 nights later, I found out. It was past midnight when I heard the noise, a soft scraping sound at my window. My apartment was on the 2nd floor, but still, I froze. Then a voice whispered, "Claire." It was my mother's voice. I turned on the lamp, my hands shaking. When I pulled back the curtain, there she was, standing outside in the rain, her hair soaked, eyes wide and empty. I opened the window just enough to speak. "Mom, what are you doing here?" She smiled faintly, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. "We just want to come home." I said, "You are not supposed to be here." She reached out, pressing her hand against the glass. "Please, we have nowhere to go. Your brother, he's in trouble. He said you did this to us." I shook my head. "No, Mom, he did this to himself. You all did." Her smile faded. "Then I guess we are even." And before I could respond, she walked away into the darkness. The next morning, I reported it to the police. They took a statement but said there was not much they could do unless she came inside. That week, I started getting letters, handwritten, no return address. Some were from Mom, others from Josh. All of them said the same thing. "You destroyed us. You are next." I tried to ignore them, but one morning, I woke up to find my car keyed from front to back. The words thief and liar scratched deep into the paint. I knew it was them, so I did something I swore I would never do again. I went back to that house, the one they lost. It was boarded up, abandoned, but I still had the spare key from years ago. Inside, everything was covered in dust. The smell of mold hung in the air. But what caught my attention was the table in the living room. There were papers scattered everywhere, old bills, letters, even printouts of bank accounts. And right there, under a cracked photo frame, I found a note written in Josh's handwriting. It said, "If she won't help, make her pay." That was when it hit me. They had never planned to reconcile. They wanted to ruin me, completely. When I left that house, I felt something change inside me. I went home, sat at my computer, and opened the files from the lawyer again. I started digging deeper, into accounts I never touched before. That was when I found the transfer trail Josh had used to fake Grandma's documents. It led to a private crypto wallet. And guess whose name was linked to it? My mother's. She was in on it the whole time. Every accusation, every lie, every text. It was her way of covering herself. That night, I called the detective who had been handling the fraud case. I sent him everything I had found. 2 days later, I got the call I had been waiting for. "Claire," he said, "we just issued warrants for both your mother and your brother. Turns out they were working together. Your grandmother's will had been altered." I closed my eyes, feeling the weight of years lift off me. He said, "You did the right thing." But the truth is, it did not feel like victory. It felt empty. A week later, I got another call, this time from the hospital. My mother had collapsed during questioning. Stress-induced heart failure, they said. I went to see her. Not because I forgave her, but because I needed closure. When I walked into her room, she looked so small, like a shadow of the woman who used to terrify me. She opened her eyes slowly when she saw me. "Claire," she whispered, "you did this to me." I stood there quietly for a long moment before answering. "No, Mom, you did this to yourself." She started crying softly. "I just wanted to protect the family." "From what?" I asked. She did not answer. Her breathing grew shallow, and for the first time I saw real fear in her eyes. The machine started beeping and nurses rushed in. They pushed me out of the room. 10 minutes later, she was gone. I walked out of that hospital without looking back. When I got home, there was one final voicemail waiting for me. It was from Josh. His voice was broken, scared. He said, "I didn't mean for it to go this far. I just wanted her to see me for once. But she loved you more, even when she hated you. I am sorry." Then silence. That was the last time I ever heard from him. The police found his car abandoned near a lake 2 days later. His wallet and phone were inside, but he was never found. Sometimes I wonder if he is still out there somewhere, watching, waiting. But most nights, I sit in the quiet, knowing the chaos is finally over. People say revenge gives you closure, that once you get justice, the pain goes away. But that is not true. It just changes shape. Now it lives in the silence between phone rings. In the empty space where my family used to be. I do not hate them anymore. I just do not miss them. Because sometimes the only way to survive a family like mine is to burn it all down and walk away. And when I think about that text, the one that started it all, I realize something. They banned me from Thanksgiving, but in the end, I was the one who cut them off from everything that mattered. That day, I learned the hardest truth of all family can destroy you faster than any enemy ever could. And sometimes, survival looks a lot like revenge.